All right, welcome back. So let's walk through the rest of the code that we've done to achieve this. So the only thing we've been looking at so far is the behavior of the inventory controller. And I have added to the behavior without completely deprecating and completely losing the old functionality, but I've added my own functions and slowly I'm replacing them. So in the last episode, we looked at how some placeholder stuff has kind of made everything else go poof, and that I needed to like make a simple system for equipping and unequipping. So that was kind of important to go through first, and it seems like I'm trying to make this as less abstract as possible because it's so easy to fall into the abstractions and then not be able to realize why would I need this. Like for example, that with the equip slot, I just thought to myself, like I was thinking in like Roblox code, right? So I had written it in the placeholder thing, which is inside the planting controller. And then I didn't think that, you know what, I'd actually need this to be the inventory thing so that I don't build a building system that's completely, or an inventory system that's completely enmeshed in the planting, because there are other things that I want the game to do. And that is something that you need to realize with Godot, is that clean code practices are very, very important, because Godot does not care if the code is right or wrong, right? I'm not talking about debugging. I'm not talking about like compiling. I'm talking about I had the function in one part, in one script, and I had the function in another script. And they conflicted each other, and it didn't matter. Godot did not try to fix that. It's not like in Roblox where if I have a part of a code and I'm referencing an item, and then it will like, tell you, like there is a sort of hierarchy of events that happen, and that does not seem to happen here, right? And that's why, for example, when you're in Roblox, they tell you like you need to do debouncing, right? And you realize if you didn't debounce, the thing would happen 50 times. The action would happen 50 times. So it's always trying. But here, it's the opposite of that. Here, you do have to be literal. You have to make sure that you know where you're writing, because if I had just put everything inside the inventory controller, obviously I would not have had this problem. But there needs to be a split. I do want to modulize everything, because maybe in the future, if I really do make an inventory system that is almost close to the Roblox functions as possible, then I would do it. Why not? Maybe I'd put it on GitHub. I have never put something on GitHub before, or maybe I just wouldn't. I would just put it on itch or something else. But, anyways, right. So in the last time we talked about the inventory controller and how I needed all of these functions, right? All of these functions in order to put this equip slot and so on and so forth. And it's not even finished. I'm working on making this preview thing happen that I had done with Roblox. Now, let's look at the planting manager. So, yeah, I've had to remove a function, and there's no reason for me to just have this function that just makes it so that you go to this function. The main point of the code is to go to this function, and also to give me an error if it didn't connect to the inventory controller, because the planting manager needs the inventory controller, which needs the player. So there needs to be the player in the scene if there is a planting manager in the scene, otherwise it won't work, because it should only work with, so obviously it looks here like, okay, if I press the button, then this function will work. That is not true. I'm still trying to use validations from that. So let's go through this. I'll just give you a second to read and sip my tea. So these really stupid blocks of if returns are just so that I don't have to stop the code somewhere. right? These are just catches, but where it's like, okay, but if nothing happens, I don't care. So if I get the inventory, the equipped slot, right? And the problem is, if I print it here, it's -1. It would still say it's -1, and it would still give me the plant. So it's like, what is the, like, you're reading from the wrong part. And this is what I'm saying about the debouncing thing. This is the opposite of Roblox's, debouncing problem, right? Anyways, so then I go into my inventory controller. I get the methods that I've defined at the top here, and then I've given, get equipped slot index, get equipped inventory item, these methods. So I go and call them here, right? I get the index, and then I get the item, and then I get another one of those scripted raycasts that just, I guess that's the only way to shoot. I think that Godot only works if you're doing a first person or a 2D at this point, because this is the only raycast that actually gives me the functionality that works. Like, I feel like third person raycast or raycast between two objects, because I like to make inanimate objects have complex functions for some reason, but whatever. Yeah. Anyways, so where were we? Yeah. So you get the we're gonna get, this is just stitched code together, to be honest with you. So we're gonna get to how I identified it. This is the same as the last time, but the last time I didn't explain it that well. So I just decided, instead of putting it in a folder or checking the tree or whatever, I'm just gonna see, does it start with soil? Yes, then just do that, right? And then once, as you've seen before, clicked on something that is not soil. So then inventory item, instantiate, and then if it's not a seed item, and then if it is, so this is important because then that means I could just add this, like copy this function and add it to, for example, the building one where I need it to be a gridded build, and then I can like change the functionality, right? This is what I'm saying, like I'm thinking about the scope ahead, even if I don't actually add that scope in the current iteration of the game that I'm going to publish. Because for now, what I want the player to be able to do is to have a garden, is to also think about like other parts of nature, maybe mushrooms, maybe other edible stuff. But when it comes to these customizing stuff, I have not worked on that yet, right? So that's going to be, that's also a cosmetic system, right? So of course it will need to be on a grid or something that like makes sense for the game design purpose. But anyways, so what I do is I put inside the seed item, anything of class seed item, right? Will have a misleading name. So it's a scene, and usually I've seen everyone do a packed scene. I was just like, what if I just do mesh instance, because I don't care about colliders and I don't care about functionality right now. What I could do is have the planting manager just handles planting. So I want it to handle both the planting and the preview and stuff. But once an item gets planted, I could maybe send that over to another code that handles the growth, and that's what I've done in the Roblox code. So I'm just saying, like, for the sake of the seeds, right? I just have a mesh instance. I could replace that with something later, like a proper scene or a proper object that then has colliders or has something else. But for now, this will do, right? So let's go back to the 3D view. So I have the seed, which I then fed it into the preview scene. I said I fed that into the tool preview, right? And I think that if I were to make an add-on, most Roblox people would want this to happen. So I feel like there needs to be a way for me to just be like, okay, so the one that has the name ish, like I'll have to figure out on a naming structure that would kind of make sense if I were to make this an add-on. Otherwise, I tell people every single time you instantiate my Roblox tool-like item, you're gonna have to drag this and put it into the tool preview, and then that's your 3D item for the tool preview, right? And then I have the planted scene, which will appear after the click. And then I have the preview. I realize now I've been rambling on for another 10 minutes, and I've not even begun to explain the player controller. So yeah, I think I'll just finish this one function, and then I don't know if the player controller will fit another 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes, because that's my maximum apparently, according to YouTube. But I will try to explain as far as I have. And if someone is interested that I do, I think at this point I have enough stuff done that I could just branch out from the original guy's GitHub and then just like publish it as if I made an add-on. I mean, technically I did make an add-on, but I just used his add-on and then worked on it for a week. I don't know if that counts as making your own add-on. I don't know. I'm gonna have to check with the coding GitHub community if this is okay. And if it is, I'll just have to strip it into its most abstract form, and then, you know, you wouldn't need the preview and the planted stuff because this is not a Roblox is not a building system thing, but I could work on a step-by-step. I think what most people care about is if the avatar looks exactly the same as the Roblox guy. But I just have 2 more minutes before I have to hit my limit and close. So these are just a bunch of more checks. And then here, this is finally when I duplicate it and I add it, and then I forgot to add it into the right folder. So the planting manager should connect to the hidden species holder and the plant container. So therefore, I should have added it to the plant container. Now, it's good that we're looking at the code because now I'm remembering stuff as I'm explaining it. I remember that I removed this by... No, I didn't. Plant container.add child. Okay, no, I didn't. Okay. Tunnel vision, right? Anyways, yeah, so this is the last and most important part. And then this is the funny part. So when I click, and then it says planted from slot, and then this gives me the integer, right? And this would give me the correct integer when I plant it, but I would also get printed, right above that, I get printed the, I deleted it now, but like the no something like, nothing was equipped or something like that. So it was really, really confusing. And this is why, like, in the beginning, when I was showing you in the beginning of this video or the last video, you could see like sometimes I click once, but then there's 2 lines of code. I've still not yet figured out where that comes from, because I feel I found some parts where there were duplicates and I removed it, but the mouse click is only calling this function once, right? The only problem is the mouse click is calling different codes, and I don't know if maybe that's why Godot is having problems. It could be. But anyways, I will have to wrap this up now. So I'll just continue in the next video. We will not have a lot to talk about, just a few more stuff that I've done in the past few days. And yeah, thank you for watching. And I hope you look forward to the next one. Bye!